Hey builders, Alea here from Alark Studios with another sweet FAQ walkthrough. In this video, we are going to explore the different ways you can use the progress bar automation. We will create a sample project with an onboarding, project management, offboarding, and project closing process, where we will be able to monitor the completion of each project phase. This is one you don't want to miss. Stay tuned.
Before we start creating an experience, I just want to take a little time to discuss how to create a progress bar. I also want to explore some of the progress bar options. Now, you can find the progress bar throughout Suite Dash platform, but the two places we're going to pay special attention to are the client dashboard and the portal pages. So let's go to our client dashboard. And I have a dashboard named Progress Bar. Now this is a blank dashboard and we're just going to start from scratch. Now in order to create a progress bar, we first want to create a row. You can do that by selecting this large plus sign inside of the square. And what's going to pop up is some column options. Now you can play around with this, select the options that best fit what you're trying to build. But just for this demonstration, we're just going to pick one column. So we have one row with one column. We're going to delete this text box. This is kind of the default content that comes up whenever you create a row. Now, as you can see, when I hover inside of this column, there are two smaller plus signs that pop up. Selecting these plus signs are going to allow me to put in a block. Now, there's many different blocks, many different widgets. I can do a text block. I can do a button block. You have your range of whatever you want to put here. We're going to select the progress bar. As soon as I select that, you see the progress bar edit window comes up. And I have many options. So let's just go over some of them. Now at the top, you're going to see three tabs. The current tab that we're in is the block options. We're going to come back because there's many different options here that we want to go over. The second tab, excuse me, the second tab is our style options, and this is where you would go when you want to style your progress bar. So you can put numbers here for the padding, for the border, for the margin. I know some of you guys didn't know that you can actually enter the numbers here. This is a great place to kind of give style to your content, especially if you're not fluent and not familiar with HTML and CSS, specifically CSS. We have our border, our radius. We have border color, we have background color, text color, and also custom classes for that CSS. You have the toggle for if you want a different color for these three categories on hover. So that means that if your mouse hover over a particular piece of content, the color will change. And let's go to our access options. Now, in our use case, we are going to use our access options, and I want you to be familiar with this. You have 4 different categories. So you can either show or hide your content according to your circles. You can show or hide your content according to your teams, the same for roles, and the same for users. This is very powerful because what this allows you to do is, instead of creating multiple dashboards or multiple pages, it allows for you to hide or show a specific section of a page or a dashboard according to the specific user, role, team, or circle. So let's go back to our block options. Now, the first thing here is our title, and you can name this anything you want. We're just going to name it Simple Progress Bar. And there you see at the top, it's just a simple progress bar. If we want to preview this, this is how it looks. Let's exit out of that. I'm going to select the pencil so I can get back into my progress bar options. The second thing we are looking at is our values. So the values is what drives the progress bar. The values is literally the progress. So in our first little widget here, we can rearrange the order of our progress bar values. And the second one, we can edit that. I'm going to come back to that. And the third one, if we want to create copies, just select that and you can create some copies of the values. And with the fourth one, if you want to delete, you can delete some values. You can also go down to the Add New Value button and just add a new value without copying, if that's something you want to do. Going back up to the values, we're going to go back to the pencil, which is our edit. And from here, we are allowed to edit our values. So we have a label, so you can label it anything you want. We have our source type, so we can either have the value. So here you have the value, the number, it's whatever you put here. This is a static number, so it's something that you put in. Or we can have more of a dynamic number. And this is where the power comes in, because you can select a custom field. Now the custom field has to be a number. So we want the number type custom field. It will tell you that. And from here, it will pull all of your custom fields. I'm going to go back to value, and then you can update. The next field that we are going to look at is the completed value field. Now, this value can be anything, any number you want it to be. By default, it is 100, because 100 equals 100%. And the 100% is a representation of completion. So you can make this number anything. If 5 meant that that was 100% completion, then when you do your automations or you do whatever it is that you do, you would put 5 as 5 being complete. So let me give you an example. If you had 5 stages in your project, okay, and in order for 5 of your stages or your phases, in order for that project to be deemed complete, all 5 of that phases or of those phases would need to be completed. So what you would put here would be 5. And then each one of those stages, would go and they would be 20%. I hope that makes sense. So you would have the value. However, it needs to add up to 100%. We have the toggle here on the show value and the value unit. So the value unit can be anything you want it to be. You can put client, and let me just hit save. And so now you see it says 90 clients, 50 clients, 35 clients. You can make this whatever you want. If you want it to be a percentage, 90%, 50%, 35%. The next field we're going to discuss is the progress type. Now, by default, this will be a line, but you can also make it an arc. And the arc is just the circles instead of the line. So I just changed it to arc, and you can see that we now have the circles and you have the percentages inside. Depending on which one you choose, you're going to have different types of specifications come up. There are some features that are there for the arc. There are some that are there for the line. You have your progress styles, which is light, dark stripes. This comes in handy when you are looking at styling your progress bar. So light stripes, in order for your user to be able to see the text inside of the progress bar. And you'll see that a little later on. You may want the background to have lighter stripes. In order to see it in dark, you may want it to have darker stripes. So let's kind of just show you what that looks like. I'm going to select light stripes. And you see the animation. It says from the left to the right. We're just going to put left, save. And see it's moving to the left. And you see the stripes are lighter. They have that background color and then a lighter stripe. Let's do dark stripes and let's do white. And now you can see that we have the completion colors, darker stripes, and the stripe is moving to the right. You can also change the label styles. You can change the color, the font. You can also change the font size. You can make it bold, and you can invert the label color if that's something you want to do. Continue on styling the progress bar. You have your width, your height, also your alignment, and your padding. Now I want to show you the difference between padding here and the padding in your style options. So the padding down here is the padding of the entire progress bar. So if I wanted to put this, let's say 50 left and 50 right. See, that is the padding for the entire progress bar. If I wanted to do padding just for the individual progress bars or the individual arcs, that is what I will use these style options for. And I'm going to change this to arc because I feel like arc is going to give you a better view of what this is. So we see our arc. We have 50 pixels on the left and right of this entire progress bar. But as you can see, these arcs are very close together. I'm going to go to style options. I'm going to go to padding. I want to give it a little padding on the left and right. And there you go. So you see now the arcs are not so close together because I gave it padding for each individual value. So now that we have discussed how to create progress bars, let's go to our first use case, which is going to be creating our client onboarding. Now, the first thing we are going to create is the onboarding phase. I did break this up in phases because I wanted to walk you through each and every one of the experiences that we are creating. In the onboarding phase, the first thing we are going to do is we're going to create a custom field. Now, this custom field is going to be for the incremental automation that we will use in our progress bar. The progress bar is going to be for every one of the phases. So we have 3. We have the onboarding phase, we have an in progress phase, which is for kind of like our progress management, and then we also have a complete phase. So we want to make sure that each one of those phases, actually I forgot one, there is an offboarding phase, but it's not going to be in the progress bar, but there is an offboarding phase as well. And then there's our completion. So for here we have our onboarding value. It is a number and it is for our contacts. Once you go and you create that value, if you don't know how to create a custom field, you just go to the top here, you name your custom field, you give it a description, you put who it's going to be used for. In our case, it can be for a contact, and then the type. And if we are using the progress bar, it always has to be number. Next, we are going over to circles. Now with circles, we are creating 3 different circles. We're going to create a circle for onboarding 1. We're going to create a circle for onboarding 2 and onboarding 3. What these circles will do is allow us to create sections within our dashboard. Instead of making individual pages, it's just going to allow us to show and hide the dashboard sections. So kind of like we explained in the last video, this is why that access portion is so powerful. Next, we're going to come down to our automation. And we're going to select automation template. Now within our automation template, we're just going to focus on the onboarding. So we have one automation that is going to add a circle, and that circle is the onboarding 1 circle. The second automation is adding the onboarding 2 circle, and it's removing the onboarding 1. We want to do that, and I'll show you in the dashboard. What that is going to do is it's not only going to hide onboarding 1 section and show onboarding 2 section, but it's also serving as that incremental automation that we need in order to move the progress bar. To show you what that looks like, it's going to remove the circle onboarding 1, it's going to add the circle onboarding 2, and it's going to set a custom field value. Let's take a look at that. So as you can see, it's the current value plus 1. It's going to add 2, and then it's going to remove onboarding 1. The next automation for our onboarding does something very similar. Let's take a look at it. It is going to add a value, so it's the current value plus 1. It is going to add the onboarding 3, and it's going to remove the onboarding 2. So every section in our dashboard that is giving access to onboarding 3, that is the only thing that will be seen. Now, of course, because it's adding circles to our clients, any client that is in that circle will be able to see that section. And our last automation, it is going to apply a project generator. It's going to remove us from the onboarding 3 circle. It's going to add us to the project in progress circle. And then it's also going to give a value to that custom field. Let's see what that looks like. So again, current value plus 1 for the custom field that we created earlier. We're going to add ourselves to the sample project in progress. We're going to remove ourselves from the onboarding and also the onboarding 3. And we also have a project generator that will be deployed in this particular automation. So let's go to our dashboard and create the content in which we will use these automations. We're going to select our dashboard. Now, the first thing we are going to do is the progress bar. In the progress bar, we have 3 different values. We have our onboarding value, in progress, and our complete value. And I have given the source type a custom field, and we have done the onboarding value. We've done the same for in progress and as well as complete. We have showed that the completed value is 3. This completed value, or the value of completion, this value should equal 100% or 100% or more. And it can be any number that you want it to be. For the purpose of this, I'm just having a 3. And we have our onboarding. And I just want to go here. So we have the text for onboarding. Let me show you this row. And as you can see, we have that circle sample project onboarding. The actual content, however, if we go to that row, it's sample onboarding 1. So everything within this row, if a client belongs to the onboarding 1 circle, they're going to be able to see this row, this section. The same for 2 and the same for 3. When we look at the buttons that we have created, We give it the text, go to section 2. And the action, we have it trigger an automation. And we select the automation in the drop down. We repeat these steps for 2 and for 3. For 3, because 3 is the end of the onboarding, we have the text go to dashboard, and then we also do the trigger, the auto template, and this is for the circle that starts the project management. So next we're going to go through how to create the project management portion of this progress bar experience. In this video, we are creating the project management process. And so the way that process will look is as you complete task, you will then complete a phase. So you have 3 tasks for each phase. As you complete the task, the phase is completed. And when the phase is completed, then the project bar will also increment along with the project management bar. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I know it sounds like a lot, but we're going to go through our order of operations again. So the first thing we would do is we would create a custom field. And I know that you could do this all at once, but I kind of want to show you in the steps until you get used to kind of like your own groove, your own workflow. So we have an in progress value, and this value again is going to be a number. This number will be used for our incremental automation. After you create that in progress value, you're going to come over to your CRM and go to circles. And we want to create that in progress circle. So what that in progress circle will do is it will allow us to be able to have a visual of the in progress section on our dashboard. Next, we're going to come down to automations, select auto templates, and within auto templates, we have one add value to progress phases. Let's look at that. And so for each phase, we have 3. We're going to take the current value and then we're going to add 1. We also have another one, which is to add the offboarding. And so what this is going to do is going to remove us from the in progress, and it's going to add us to offboarding. Now, if you remember in the last video, at the very end of the offboarding progress or process rather, we added a project generator. And so for that, we want to go up to generators. You're going to select project generator. And just name your project, give it a pending status. If you have templates that you would like to add some task templates, you could do so. And then select Create. We're going to take a look at one of the project generators that we've already created, and that's the one for this sample project. So we have the name, it's the first name, last name, and a sample project. Initially, it is a pending project. We do have a task template that we've added to it. And we also have an automation. And what this automation does is when this project is considered complete, it is going to remove us from, let's see if we can take a look. It's going to remove us from in progress, and it's going to add us to offboarding. So it pulled in that automation template. Excuse me, it pulled in that automation template that we showed you when we were in the automation section. The other thing I want to point out is it says automatically change project status to complete when all tasks have been marked complete. And you would just save that. Before we actually create the generators, what you would want to do is create your task templates. And we have a task template entitled Sample Project, just like our generator. And it's just very simple. We have 3 tasks for each phase. So we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and we have assigned 3 tasks for each one of these phases. So at the end of the onboarding, what's going to happen is this task generator will deploy. We're then going to come over to our dashboard. We have our in progress section that we created. And we also have our task block that we put here. And if you remember, if you want to get to all of your blocks, the only thing you have to do is select the small plus sign, and then you have a list of all of the blocks that you can have. You just want to put my task block, and therefore with this particular task block, because we have it to where it shows up in the my progress, that's the only time you're going to be able to see it. Next, we're going to create the offboarding, and we're going to show you what happens when you finish the offboarding. In this video, we are going to create the process that will complete our project. Now, there's going to be 2 different processes in this video. The first one will be for the offboarding, which we did not create a project timeline for, but we're also going to see the complete project process. So let's get started. The first thing we are going to do is go to our custom fields. That is kind of like our first thing we do. And we're going to create 2 custom fields. We're going to create one that is completing the entire project. And then we're also going to create one for the project deliverables checklist. So for this one, it's going to be it's going to be the value, and that's going to be the number. And in this custom field, it's just a checklist, so we can go and look. And it's just, 1 complete, 2, the checklist to make sure all of our deliverables have been completed. Next, we're going to go over to our CRM and in circles. And from there, we're going to create 2 circles. One will be for the project offboarding, and this is for our automation template. And also another circle for when the project is completed. And this is also for our automation template. Next, we're going to go down to our automations, select auto template. And from here, we are going to we're going to create a auto template that is going to remove the offboarding. Remember in the last video, we added offboarding after that particular section was complete, which was the project. And so we're going to remove that circle, and we are going to add the sample project complete. Let's see what that looks like. So we're going to add the onboarding complete. This should be we're actually adding project complete. There we go. And we are removing the offboarding. We're going to save that. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to go to forms, because we have a form that will trigger that automation. And this is our offboarding form. We have our sample project. This is the checklist that we made, which was our custom field, just to see what that looks like. And we're going to select save. We're then going to go over to content and go to our sample project dashboard, which is our progress bar dashboard actually. And from here, you're going to come down to our offboarding. And we want to make sure that we put the link to the form there, because once that form is completed, then that automation will be triggered and we will see project complete. I actually should go back to the forms and show you how we added that automation. I think that would be something good to do. So let's go back to our offboarding form. If you see, we have an automation that we triggered. And it's going to do 3 things. It's going to give the current value. So if you remember in the other 2 videos, in the onboarding and also the project, we had kind of like an incremental automation. Here, we're just adding the entire number. So as soon as that um, form, that button is pressed, it's going to trigger this, and this is going to complete our project. We see also we have the onboarding complete, which is what we add, and the offboarding, which is going to be removed. Always save. Next, we're going to do a final walkthrough and put it all together so you can see exactly what this looks like. So in this video, we are going to put everything together. We have our progress timeline here, which is going to keep track of the 3 phases of our project. We have our different sections that are going to dynamically appear and disappear according to the circles that we belong to. And you're also going to see another progress bar come up that is going to keep task of our project once we're in the in progress phase. So let's go ahead and get started. I want you to imagine that this client has filled out a kickoff form, and that form ended up giving them their dashboard credentials. They logged in, and this is the first part of the dashboard in the process that they see. So we are in onboarding. We are at client onboarding section 1, and we have a button here that is going to take us to section 2. Clicking this button is going to trigger one of the incremental automations, as well as the automation to change our circle. So let's go ahead and select that. Okay, so as you can see, in the onboarding phase of our project, you can see that that has some progress to it. We are now in section 2, and we have a button here to select section 3. I'm going to select that button. Okay, so once again, we have some progress in our onboarding phase, and just the onboarding phase. We are now at section 3. And here, once we select this, it's going to take us to the in progress phase. It is also going to trigger that project generator. So let's go ahead and select that. Okay, so the onboarding phase is complete. We are now in the in progress phase. You can see all of the tasks that are here, and that is because we had the project generator being triggered once we completed the onboarding. And so I'm going to go in and complete these tasks that complete each one of the phases. So we're going to task 1, phase 1 is complete. Task 2 of phase 1, we're going to mark that complete. Task 3 of phase 1 is complete. And so what this means is all of the tasks in phase 1 is completed. And because of that, if we just happen to go back to our dashboard, we're going to see that there's some progress there, because we connected the 3 phases to our automation, not the individual task. I know some people do that, but I found that doing it by phase is a little bit better, because you can add tasks different tasks. And even when you add tasks, it will not complete the phase. I don't know if that makes sense. So basically, let's just say you have a phase that has 3 tasks, right? And you have something else you need to add. Well, you can add as many tasks as you want to. It also allows you to um, not have that phase completed until all of the tasks are completed. So we're going to go back and finish this. So we have phase 1. Let's go back to my task. Okay, so we're going to go to task 1. I'm just going to do it this way. Complete. Yes. And so if we go back to our dashboard again, I just want to show you that this is also the incremental automation. So now we have completed phase 2, and it's showing here that we've completed phase 2. Let's go back into our task and let's complete phase 3. So all of our tasks are completed now. So if I were to go to the dashboard, we're now at the offboarding, because once that was completed, and remember, once all of the tasks were completed according to the project generator, it was going to trigger this automation. So we have onboarding that's completed. We have in progress that's completed. And now we have our project offboarding kind of like task list. It's a project deliverables. So we're going to go and check these. You don't have to check them. I just have them here just to show. Sometimes you have where these have to be completed. They are required before we are able to complete the offboarding. And so now that we have checked that all of our deliverables, we got everything, we're going to go to checklist complete. And once our checklist is complete, our project is complete, and thank you for choosing the demo business. So I hope that you guys find this helpful. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And as always, happy building.